All right, guys, it's been a long time coming, but I finally decided to post a video on YouTube. This will be the first of hopefully many videos to come. Obviously, it's going to be contingent on my schedule in PT school, but we're going to do the best we can and hopefully along the way progress in terms of quality of content that I'm able to put out and ideally move towards a more educational focused direction and providing the value to you guys that I'm acquiring not only in DBT school, but also my own personal experience as a athlete, a tennis player, a student athlete at that, and a bodybuilder, and my knowledge that I've gathered over the years in the fitness space from having my own coach to now being a coach and kind of blurring the lines between the bro science that you often nowadays see on social media and then the science-based community. And it's become hard to distinguish what's reality and what's fictitious. So that's my goal here, to be able to make that easier for you guys to understand the nuances of why different training methods work, but then also understand what the science says and why you should adhere to certain principles, especially if you're trying to not make fitness your entire life, but embed it as a part of your life, like most people, the average person would. It's not, I want to live in the gym or I want to be working out 2, 3, 4 hours a day. It's what is that minimum prerequisite that you can do to be healthy long term? And that's what I'm sought after. Coming from the extreme, and now to where I am today, I've realized that people have extremely busy lives. People struggle to make the time because they just don't have time. And I'm here to convey that message. You don't need to be following these influencers who are telling you to do these exotic workouts and train 5, 6, 7 days a week. When in reality, you only need 2, 3, upwards of 4 days to get not only the minimum effective dose, but maximize your results long term. Okay, so I'm going to be running through some questions here. There's a good amount, but I'm going to try to pick the ones that I see fit are most beneficial to you guys as well as I would like to answer. How old are you and how long it took to get that physique? So for those of you who don't already know, I am 25 years old. I turned 26 in July. So to put that in perspective, I've been training for about 8 years now, since I was 17. Didn't start taking things very seriously until I turned about 21. I was resistance training in college and while playing on the tennis team, but it was mainly for quote unquote functional and just pure power type of training, right? It was to translate and carry over to tennis. But about around the time of 21, I made the switch. I was kind of surrounded by some bad influences. Some of my friends were not the best for me from a productivity perspective, even though, I loved them and we had great experiences. I hit a breaking point essentially, and I found the gym, I found bodybuilding, and that really, I really invested into it. I put a lot of time and effort and energy, understanding the nuances, the minutia of what it took to put on muscle, and under the guidance of a coach that was so beneficial for me. So realistically, the past 4 years, I've made my most amount of progress, and yet still I've come to the realization that a lot of it was bro science-y, and only up until these past few months, I've been diving into the literature and seeing that there's so much more I could have been doing properly. And now that I'm embedding into my own practice and training methodology, the gains are just way better. And I'm doing way less and I'm spending so little time in the gym. It's actually insane that there's this narrative pushed that you need to be in the gym so much when it's not the case. All right, so next question, kind of to piggyback off the last one, how to gain weight ectomorph problem. So I think we need to understand that body types or somatotypes aren't entirely accurate. This is because everyone exists on a spectrum, right? So when you say you're an ectomorph, essentially what you're saying is you're under-muscled and you're very lean, which, believe it or not, is where I started. If you go back to some of my past videos, I know I'll probably post a new one on this topic soon, but what it's going to come down to is legitimately just eating a caloric surplus and resistance training. That is how you're going to gain weight as an ectomorph or someone who's skinny, under-muscled, or just lean at that. Because at the end of the day, it is an energy balance equation. And oftentimes you see people with extremely fast metabolisms as myself, or people who aren't specifically training for strength, or they're usually under eating a good amount. And that's going to come down to one, tracking calories, or at the bare minimum, having a ballpark estimate of what you're eating in the day. You don't need to be super meticulous, but you should be kind of aware of how much you're eating. And if you're not eating enough, you just need to eat more. Understand that muscle growth is slow, and I've kind of had to deal with going the extreme of, eating in a large caloric surplus to gain weight, when in reality, like, if you just eat 1,000 plus calories more than your maintenance, you're just going to gain fat with that. So it's kind of a trade-off here. Do you want to just gain weight, or do you want to gain muscle? If you just want to gain weight, then yes, you just eat a lot more food. If you want to gain muscle, understand that a very small caloric surplus is all that's needed. How long is typically a leg day training session for you, time and sets wise? So a great question. My leg days used to be a lot longer, and now that I've dropped a lot of excess inflammation, and the past 4 months I've been training with a much lower volume approach, I've noticed that not only has my strength in my legs drastically increased, but I've been able to maintain the look and most of the size. Again, I've been intentionally losing weight just to drop all the excess inflammation I was holding on to and all that muscle damage. But I will say now I'm realistically doing 2 to 4 sets per muscle per leg day. So usually I'm doing only 4 to 5 exercises, and that's 2 sets per. What that comes out to is, if you're training with intensity and you're resting the appropriate time, that's usually 2 to 3 minutes between sets, easily done that leg day in an hour. From a fellow PT, what do you think of PT school so far? So a little change in direction of topic here. PT school is obviously hard. It's graduate school, and the program I'm in is an accelerated program. But I will say it is one of the most interesting experiences I've ever been through in terms of my fascination of these topics. I absolutely love biomechanics. I've grown more fond and appreciative of human anatomy and physiology. I'm still neuroscience is still, harder for me, but I'm definitely devoted to understanding that a little further. And then just regulations and whatnot, and just different health principles. It's just super interesting to see how much knowledge that physical therapists genuinely have. And I'm only past term 1. And I think there's a lot of underappreciation, or not given credit where it's due to a lot of PTs. They are doctors. They do have doctorates. They're doctors of movement, essentially. It's just an entirely different world. And I'm just so grateful and blessed to be part of this and to have this opportunity to become a doctor of physical therapy, because my undergraduate was not completely different, but it was a different direction. I was a biomechanical engineer major, and I decided my last couple of years that is not what I wanted to do. So to be able to pivot directions and get the opportunity to do something that I genuinely have a passion for it's profound. And again, I couldn't be more grateful. Favorite tennis player. So, if you haven't seen any of my tennis videos, I know I haven't competed in a long time since college, but I do have a one-handed backhand, and there was one GOAT who did have a one-handed backhand. And if you are a follower of tennis, you would know that is Roger Federer. That is definitely my idol growing up. I just love the game. I love his attitude, his personality towards the sport, his work ethic. It's just something I've always looked up to. My dad is also a big time tennis player. So, we've kind of had this camaraderie regarding Roger and just the game. And now I guess that was my past current favorite tennis player. I'd say right now, that's a tough one. I loved Jannik Sinner's game, I will say. I know he's number 1 in the world, so I think he does have a flawless game, and I think he's going to be number 1 for a while, as long as he doesn't get suspended again. I do like Tommy Paul. I think he's a great player. I think he has the potential to be top 5 if he really, really hones in his execution and his athleticism. But yeah, I'd say Jannik Sinner is probably my favorite right now on tour. Just, he's fun to watch, and he just hits the ball so clean. What type of shoes do you wear during your workout? So I have been wearing Vivo barefoot shoes for the past, I want to say 3 years now, and I absolutely love them. I I wear Vivos pretty much everywhere, in the gym, out of the gym, except for on the tennis court. If I were to go running, I think you do need some support there, especially tennis. You don't want to be rolling your ankle. But yeah, Vivos they're so comfortable. The muscles under my feet, my plantar muscles have definitely strengthened because of them over the years. I think they're great for leg days, and yeah, you just gain a whole new set of functionality from wearing them. I'm a big fan of Vivos. So, least favorite muscle to train, ooh, probably abs. I think the problem, like, there's only so many things I can do for abs from a progressive overload standpoint without just accumulating a lot of unnecessary volume. So I only do cable rope crunches right now, and even then I've maxed out the pins, so I'm using a gym pin. But it's just like the function of your rectus abdominis is extremely simple. It's just trunk flexion. So obviously your obliques have a different function, but you know, I get a lot of that from rotational component when I play tennis. They're just I just don't like doing them. I guess I like training all other muscles for a different reason. I think the most painful is definitely quads, but I've even grown a tolerance for that. So yeah, I'd say abs. How often do you shave your face and body? I've been trying to get better at this. I do grow hair pretty fast, which that was another question. Tips for hair growth. I think it's predominantly genetic. I just have a propensity to grow hair pretty fast. Nothing specific. Maybe some dietary implements. I do eat high quality red meat, and I think that could be a factor, as well as dairy, which I am gonna have to take out because of the back knee or shoulder acne. Shaving, I don't shave my body. Beard, I try to keep this looking clean as possible. So I usually every other day I'll trim up my face and my neck when possible, just to keep it cleaner, a more aesthetic look, you know. Yeah, I like rocking the beard. It's definitely a vibe. Favorite cheat meal. So I mean, it's a good cheeseburger with fries and a milkshake is just all the way. Like, that is for sure my favorite cheat meal. And it's going to depend, because I do get sick of certain foods pretty quick, but right now I haven't had Five Guys in quite some time, and I am craving that. And I will say I'm going on a lean bulk, so I will be able to have a little bit leeway. I'll probably give myself 1 or 2 cheat meals during the week, or free meals, I like to call them, just to keep that adherence better. But yeah, that's probably, I can't think, I'm just craving the cheeseburger now. Favorite Pokemon. It's funny, I grew up loving Pokemon. I could not tell you. I'd say Charizard. I feel like everyone loves Charizard. That's the first thing that comes to mind for me. I have no idea what the whole new generation of Pokemon is, so I could not tell you. Okay, last question, and then I'll wrap this video up. What's one thing that always helps you on a cut? So for myself, as well as people I've talked to, clients, coaches, volumizing your food to make it feel like you're not cutting, to make you feel full, as well as drinking a good amount of water. And diet sodas are a great hack. You know, you want to not overdo them, but they're a good tool. Incorporating some foods that you do enjoy, that is very helpful, because you don't want to wake up and dread the meals you're about to eat and be hungry and eat them and be not satisfied. You want some sort of satisfaction that's going to allow you to adhere to it long term. And then again, it's important to have free meals every once in a while. I usually like to give 1 cheat meal to my clients during the week. Again, from an adherence perspective, it can be beneficial, as well as, you know, physiologically, there are some merits from metabolically that it can be helpful, but it's important to not overdo those as well. So those are some tricks and hacks, I would say. And at the end of the day, the biggest thing is understanding your why. Why are you actually doing the cut? That is really going to determine success or not, because it's good to have a goal, a checkpoint along the way, and that once you hit those and you check off the boxes, that can make the process a lot smoother. All right, guys, that was my Q&A for today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Please remember to like and subscribe if you already haven't. That would really help me out. Obviously, I'm new to this whole YouTube world, but I'm going to try my best to make it a reality and potentially grow in this channel. Comment below if there's any other type of videos you'd like me to do and I can put together in my spare time. I'm willing to, maybe some long form content, maybe like day in the life, full day of eating, whatever you have in mind or you'd like to see. Comment that below. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Till next time.